In this video, we're going to take a look at the short, medium and long term for the US giant retailer Amazon. I'm David Jones. Welcome to the latest video with Trading 212. I thought this week, when it comes to an individual share, Amazon would be an interesting one to look at because they had their quarterly numbers out a couple of months ago. A little bit disappointing. And it's such a big household name. It's the sixth biggest company making up the S&P 500 with a valuation of around about $450 billion, depending on where the share price is trading, of course. So let's start off. Let's have a look at some of the recent numbers for Amazon before we get into the chart. Let's see what Amazon's numbers were like that came out at the end of July. They're quarterly figures. So on one side we've got expected, what the market was forecasting. On the other side we'll have actual. So earnings per share, this is the big number. How profitable or not were they? Now, the market was expecting $1.42 a share in earnings. The numbers from Amazon came in, big disappointment, 40 cents a share. Okay, so a big miss there. To compare this to a year ago, in the same quarter, Amazon had earned $1.78 a share. And they said, they put this down to the amount of investment they were doing. Now revenues, when it comes to sales, analysts were expecting sales of just over $37.2 billion. The number came in a little bit better than expected, came in at $38 billion US dollars for the quarter for Amazon. When it comes to the third quarter coming up, Amazon expects to have revenues somewhere between $39 and $42 billion. So we'll see how that one turns out. How's the share price done? Let's take a quick look at the percentage change in the Amazon share price over recent periods, or longer periods as well. Let's go back 5 years. Over the last 5 years, the Amazon share price is up 270%. For the year to date, it's an impressive figure as well. So since the end of last year, the Amazon share price is up 25%. But since those results came out at the end of July, we've seen Amazon shares drop by 10%. Okay, there's some of the financial numbers, but as usual, let's take a look at the chart. We'll look at the long term, the medium term, and the short term picture, because it's quite interesting what's happened since those quarterly results came out at the end of July. Just to put things into perspective, I've scrolled back to around about 2008 on the chart. The shares were trading around the $70 mark, and today, here we go, trading up above $900. Let's take a look at a bit more recent history. This is the last seven or so years, and you can see the trend really accelerated from 2015. And since then, it's more than trebled. We've moved away from this longer term trend line. And the bit of the trend I want to focus on now is what's actually happened over the last 2.5 years. So let's take a look at that. Now up here you can see this is when the earnings came out. So we've had seen the shares trade almost up to $1,100 a share, but since then they've been in reverse, and we're seeing the very first signs of that trend line, this latest trend line from the beginning of 2016 starting to break. So it shows, I think, just how much pressure that share price has come under in recent weeks. Let's just zoom in. I think it's a really interesting setup. You could view, on the one hand, you can view that trend line break as being something of a false break. Amazon has been incredibly strong over the years, which we know. It's suffered a bit because there's poor quarterly earnings. So is this just something of a false break? And we're going to see the 900 area hold and the price move back up. I think that the big levels I'd be watching, the really immediate one, is around about $930 a share. You can see it, this old support from back in May that's done a pretty good job all the way and up until now of holding the share price. So let's see, can it rally off here and have another run back up to the $1,000 plus a share? After that, I think it's how it performs. If it does slip below 929, 930, does 880 hold? And I think that's another opportunity maybe to be a buyer. I think if we saw it slip below 880, it could convince plenty of other investors that maybe now is the time to throw in the towel. So I think short and medium term, there's a couple of really key levels to keep an eye on when it comes to Amazon. At the moment, the MACD, if you look at MACDs, we've had various signals in the past. The last buy signal we had was here, which did okay for a little bit. We had signals there. Because the trend has been so strong, the MACD hasn't really dipped into the lower zone, but it did back here. The last signal we had was a few days ago where the MACDs crossed lower. So again, maybe this is one to watch. If we see some strength come in, do we see the MACDs unwind and set up a buy signal for Amazon? But I think it's, clearly it's a big household name and it's always a really popular share to watch. It's always an interesting share, to look at. We're in the run-up, of course, to Black Friday. Christmas isn't too far away, big time of year for Amazon. But before we finish off, let's try and use some cutting-edge artificial intelligence to help us figure out just where the share price could go. Alexa, is the Amazon share price going to go up or down?
Sorry, I'm not sure.
So Alexa there being the perfect market analyst, sitting on the fence and not committing in either direction. We'll wrap things up there as usual. If you have any questions or comments about what we discussed, just leave us a message in the comments down below. If you like the video, click the thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, click that button there. We produce lots of regular trading videos on all sorts of topics. And if you're subscribed, you'll get automatically notified. But for this week, from me, David Jones and Trading 212, we'll wrap it up. And I hope you have a good trading week.